When I visit with the Nebraska Department of Roads, there's a lot of frustration that these very limited federal dollars that we have are being used on the requirements, on a lot of paperwork, that really don't affect the social or the environmental or historical aspects of these projects. Many of you have mentioned that, and your frustration with it as well. Chairman Willix, in your testimony, you say that counties must submit several pages of environmental review forms to multiple federal and state agencies, further lengthening the time it takes to receive approval. Do you have any estimate on the cost that that's going to add to projects in your county?
Senator, I can't give you specifics on, because it varies so much by which project and what the hoop is you're jumping through, but I can give you two paper examples. We are improving a road that's in my written testimony, and we're putting a culvert into this road that's existed since 1892. Our application to the Corps of Engineers was 82 pages plus maps to disturb 960 square feet of dirt. It's a road that's existed long before any of us here, long before the regulations were created, but we're jumping through that hoop. Another county in Wyoming participates in the high-risk rural roads project to just add guardrails or to put center yellow line striping on the road. They had to submit paperwork. Now, it wasn't huge and burdensome, but if you're going to paint yellow stripes on the road, you shouldn't have to apply to do that. It should be instantaneous. It should be quick.
Do you think maybe this committee and the Senate needs to look at how we address the categorical exclusions on projects? You know, I think that's what you're talking about on these, and the amount of paperwork that goes into them and the back and forth with the different agencies and the bureaucracy involved in that. I see a lot of nodding on the panel that many of you think so. Do you think so, Chairman?
Senator, categorical exclusion is a step in the right direction, but it's still a process we have to go through to get the categorical exclusion. So it definitely is a movement in the right direction, and that is beneficial. But that time, money, and effort isn't concrete pavement and bridges, and that's where I get stopped in the grocery store about make sure road X is paved, pothole fixed, bridge redone. They don't say fill out more paperwork so we can get it done. They want action on the ground.
Right, thank you. Mayor Cornett, in your testimony, you talk about encountering those federal stumbling blocks. Can you give me some examples of those as well, and the burdens that they place on your project delivery? And what do you think are some of the biggest obstacles that you're faced with the different federal rules and regulations?
Well, one example is that I-235 project, which in Oklahoma City is near 10th Street and Harrison, and we were trying to address a traffic flow situation for the General Electric facility that's getting ready to be built. And we assumed that we would not need what's called an access justification report, but we were informed by the Federal Highway Association that we would need it. And we're now 120 days beyond where we think the project should be. And it is a very, very simple project, and we're just trying to enhance the safety and enhance the traffic flow, and it just seems like there's unnecessary paperwork and bureaucracy in between it.
Thank you so much. And Director Lewis, with the State Department of Transportation in Rhode Island, how would you characterize, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm going to, how would you characterize your department's relationship with your federal partners? And are there any areas that you can maybe point to for improvement?
I think that's an excellent question. I think we have a very good relationship with our federal partners in Rhode Island. I think many of us have spoken about that. And the real key to success is when we're all working together with a common goal. And I think the successes you'll see across the country are rooted in that, is that the city, the state, the county, and the feds are all working together. When one or more are separate from that group, that's when you run into problems. Because if we're all pulling in the same direction, we're going to get a successful and a quick turnaround.
Do you see quick turnarounds, or do you see maybe some delays too with paperwork that we've heard from other members?
We have our own share of issues that we would like to accelerate. I think characterizing it on the whole, we have a very good relationship and very responsive division office in the for the Federal Highway Administration.
You know,
there's no question there are issues.
We work so hard for funding for these projects, and it is very frustrating to sit back and watch the delays as construction costs increase, and they are increasing by double digits, percentage-wise in many, many cases. So thank you for everything you've done. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, if I might add, at the same point, we learned a lot of lessons during the disaster, and one of them is really about everyone working together, and I would say that our relationship is very strong, but we are looking at innovations in how we permit projects. So I think the sweet spot is not to reduce the standards, but to improve the process to get there. And it's amazing what can happen in a crisis. And when we had our regulatory agencies with us on site, we were able to move very expeditiously and meet the standards. So I think that might be the goal.
I think that's, if I may respond, Madam Chair, I think that's a great suggestion, because when we do see disasters happen, this is a time when we come together, when we're able to get these projects done, and sometimes the regulations aren't as strict as they are in a normal process. I think we need to look at what truly is required during a construction period in order to make sure wise decisions are made. But if they can be waived in a case of an emergency, why can't they be waived in our normal everyday process of trying to build our infrastructure, create jobs in this country? Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.